Guys, let's start the Campfire chat.
Diablo
Unfortunately,
3.
chat
Welcome
is
to
disabled.
Diablo 4 Campfire chat. We end with a creepy eyeball. We were just talking about.
All right, I want to see some big updates,
This one
man.
is patch 2.1 PTR Campfire chat. I know we were just here last week when we were talking about the mid-season update, but this one is kind of like the big one because we're
Yeah,
gonna be
season
talking about
7.
everything coming with patch 2.1 and season 7.
Yeah,
I'm
that's all.
joined
That's all
here
I care
by
about.
Mr.
We need some
Campfire,
big
Mr. Charles
updates,
Dunn,
man.
who have appeared on prior Campfire chats. We were going to have Adam Jackson. He is unfortunately not feeling very well, so we hope he gets better soon. And we do also have another guest here who is live from Albany, Blizzard Albany, and that is Mr. Dan Tangway, who's going to be talking a little bit as well about what's coming up for patch 2.1. And he's showing off his red Diablo 4 jacket. We have our
Is chat enabled now? Because I'm really concerned. Like, if you're disabling chats on a stream, that's
models. How are you doing? Hopefully you're good.
not looking too hot, man. Like, you know, just keeping it real.
Not sure if he can hear.
Why would they disable chat?
But either way, a few things that we do want to talk
Maybe
about.
they'll
before we
tell
actually
us
do jump
why.
into everything. Obviously, PTR is coming up soon. We are doing this stream a little early this time, mainly because the Thanksgiving holiday is coming up here in the U.S. And so we are going to be talking about some of the contents before even the patch notes are ready. We do plan on having a blog immediately after this stream, so players can actually check out the blog and read a little bit more about
That's
what
good.
we're
That's
talking
good. That's
about
good.
today. But the patch notes will be available next Wednesday for players to actually check out. So it'll be before the U.S. holiday here, so everyone can kind of dive deep into the patch notes for PTR. PTR is currently planned to start on December 3rd, so that will be after the U.S. holidays here for Thanksgiving.
Wait, is that this? Wait,
so
what does
this
PoE
kind
2
of stuff
come out again?
Is coming up for players to kind of jump into. But I know what we want to do is really just dive straight deep into all the new stuff that we do want to talk about.
Oh, it's 6. Okay, we're good. We got 3 days of it. All right.
We do want to chat about is just season 7 and what that's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Just
So
show us season
let's, uh,
7. They
jump
probably don't
over
want to
to
get cooked.
Mr.
Oh, with the
Dan
comments.
Tangway
Oh, we could
in
also.
Albany,
Oh, you can't
to
do.
kind of walk us
Dang, they
through.
don't let
So,
closed
Dan,
captions
you
go
wanna
either.
Take over.
Oh no.
Dan
Okay.
can't currently here.
All right. What happened?
So I don't know what happened. I mean, maybe.
Is the chat still
you know, it's not
disabled?
how it's working.
Dang, it's still disabled. Like,
So instead, I guess we'll just start with classes.
you can't even.
first.
Yeah,
Mr. Charles Dunn, do you want to talk about class changes that are coming with season 7? I know we talked a little bit about this last week with Adam Jackson. Just a reminder, Spiritborn, expect that to be addressed for season 7, and we will actually be talking a little bit about that now. So, Charles.
Yeah,
take us through it.
absolutely. I love to talk about some of the changes coming to all the different classes in Diablo 4, as well as some broader, more systemic updates that are happening that kind of affect all classes equally. In a
okay,
way.
let's check this out.
Yeah, so
all right.
like I said,
So class updates,
going through,
game updates,
individual
more to
class
share.
by
I mean,
class,
that's kind of
seeing
vague, but
some of the new stuff that's coming for a lot of the classes. Let's start with the Barbarian.
okay, cool. Oh, we got new skills.
Yeah, so Barbarian
10%
is a
damage
class
increase,
that,
okay.
You know, we think a lot of the classes have been performing
Hammer the
pretty
Ancients
well
is what it's
across the
saying.
board. They're always a step under the Spiritborn, but Barbarian maybe a step and a half below, and so we're looking at a lot of buffs across the board for them.
Walking
here.
Arsenal got
So
nerfed for
we're looking at
no
some
reason,
Hammer
by
the
the way.
Ancients,
No one
but
uses this
number up here.
anyways.
A little bit of a rework to the Walking Arsenal passive. Previously, it was
So it's doubling
the
it.
bonus was just 8%. Now we're going to be giving you a bigger bonus, and when you have all of them active, you're going to get more attack speed and some bonus crowd control duration, which we think really plays into that.
So it can help out with the bosses, I guess. If you build a
Additionally,
stagger.
we're also updating Earthquakes. That has been one of my favorite builds on Barbarian. Right?
So they're just
Seeing
increasing the
Earthquakes come
numbers.
out
Looks like
everywhere.
50%.
Leafquake, I absolutely love it.
So 30 to
the visuals on it
45.
is just top notch. So we're really we took some lessons from what we did on rogues in the past with their stun grenades power, where a lot of the legendaries that talked to stun grenades also had kind of this extra bit where it increased the damage of all of your stun grenades, so that you kind of got these synergistic builds with the various aspects all together. And we're extending that over to Earthquakes now here. So we're adding on basically.
There's no
all of
chat,
these
by
ones
the
that
way,
talk to
guys. It's
Earthquakes, just
still
they
disabled.
increase
They don't
the
have it.
damage,
I can't show it.
rolls and-
I wish, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit less finicky too, right? Because now it lasts after the earthquake expires, or if you
Yep.
leave it.
Okay, while standing in Earthquake and for
So
4
we think
seconds.
this would just be a much more.
A lot of these things are kind of like Diablo
comprehensive
3
build,
stuff, but that's
overall.
fine. Like, it's
We
like.
also got new legendary that talks directly to Earthquakes
Like
as well. ups their damage and increases their fire, or turns it into fire damage. And I think this is really cool.
So I can mix it up with gores?
We're going to see some more stuff as we actually get onto the PTR, but I think Earthquakes and Hammer of the Ancients might be a build that you're going to be very interested in combining.
Well,
this
Hoda
with,
we had
some
for
of the
like
stuff
4
that you'll
seasons, and it
see
was
come to
strong,
PTR.
but which is
All right,
cool.
let's
But
move on to the Sorceress. Sorceress, one of the key notes that we've noticed with Sorceress over
wait, this
the
is
whole lifespan of
bad.
Diablo
Wait,
is,
what?
Diablo
Now you
4,
can't afflict
is
burn?
that players often felt like they were pigeonholed into burning builds in particular. Firebolt enchantment is probably.
Are they just going to give it to us for free?
By far, because it was just kind of a free way to apply a very small amount of burning to enemies, but that was what you needed to turn on a lot of the passive.
Hopefully we'll just get it for free. That's an upgrade for sure.
Powerful interactions, but we felt like that was making everything a little too homogenous. You felt like you had to do this in order to access.
Yeah, we'll be checking out PoE 2 as well.
So we
Smoke
decided that
for
we
sure,
really
for
want
sure.
these burning synergies to really be benefiting builds that are dedicated to burning type builds, and not just ones who are splashing it in with Firebolt enchantment. And so with that in mind, we did a rework on the enchantment to increase the
Just give us burn
burning
somewhere
damage
else,
from the
right?
enchantment and change it over to this, which has a healing component to it. And then we also updated a lot of those burning passives to really play better in the dedicated fire-based builds, rather than being something that you just want to splash into everything.
Yeah, hopefully there's a lot more build variety.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is one of the main driving goals of a lot of our updates is increasing that build variety, so you don't feel like you have to take this checklist of mandatory things before moving on to what you actually want for your build. So an example here on Devouring Blaze, you've got bonus. Previously, it was bonus critical strike damage against burning enemies, no matter how much they're burning for. So you just apply that little bit of burning, and you would get this. Now instead, you get a bigger bonus, but it's just for your pyromancy critical strike skills.
So we'll have extra skill points, but we lose damage. So we just lose out on the damage.
Big fire crits. Devouring Blaze is now even more valuable for those builds, and it's not something that you necessarily need to.
But maybe we'll get buffs somewhere else. Okay.
All right, on to the next one.
Ball Lightning, yes. Let's see, what do we got?
So Ball Lightning, the previous upgrades, like kind of these.
So
Ball
30x.
Lightning and Wizard's Ball Lightning were about stunning enemies or spawning some correcting energy with admittedly some kind of complex conditions. You had to jump through a lot of hoops to get these. One of the things we really like to do with a lot of these updates is simplify them down and streamline and really focus in on what the interesting factor is.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more modular too, right? So there's more builds, the less sort of focused that initial step is on that skill.
Absolutely. So we've got the Mage's Ball Lightning here that now is just increasing its damage against stun enemies. It's really that payoff for a lot of the lightning stun effects. And then
so that's a buff. You run Rybits and pull up the stun, you know.
Energy, just more consistent generation there. All right, on to the next one. We've got
a new item.
New uniques.
This is cool. All right, that's what I'm here for.
About Ball Lightning. So this is actually something interesting we're doing this season where we're making 2 uniques that are in the same slot.
Super Ball Lightning?
And
What?
We're going to modify the skill in a different way. So they will be mutually exclusive. So you can take either this one here, which turns Ball Lightning into
So it's a focus.
Kind of like a bowling ball, really. You send it forward, it goes pretty fast, and when it hits a target, it's going to explode and kind of splash outward. And I think this is really cool. It offers a switched up play style. So the way you're familiar with Ball Lightning, which was kind of slow moving forward, or if you pick
slow, I felt like Ball Lightning was pretty fast, man. You just
the
TP suck everything up like a
aspect. So
vacuum.
we can go on and take a look at that one here in the next clip. Right, so a lot of the Ball Lightning builds.
Yeah, I'd rather play
we're
this.
using the gravitational aspect that calls it to rotate around you, and we've updated that and kind of reworked the gravitational aspect so that now that functionality is built into this new unique, and also has some additional bonuses to encourage this kind of play style.
So you get more damage per each Ball Lightning.
The gravitational aspect that used to do this has been reworked into a new cool effect that you'll be able to demo out on the PTR as well.
This is like a fun trade-off now.
And honestly, it looks like the same though. It just doesn't have the
really
ticks. It
helps
just
be a bit more build defining.
I like this way more.
A lot of the uniques is hey, you get this unique and
this looks way better.
Like it's
so
very,
Okune's Catalyst. But it's just a number
Here
increase
is
though,
the
right?
inherent affix on this, right up near the top, that Ball Lightning can be cast while moving. This makes it a lot smoother to just be moving.
Yeah, why
around
would you not take this one? The other one's like
and
outclassed
keep
already.
the
I'll tell you
ball
for
like
sure.
And you're not gonna have to like stop like that. You know.
You
very
can
short
cast while
pass,
moving?
stop.
Dude, I
Yes,
want
it
more
just
of
feels
these.
much
That's
smoother.
genuinely
And this is
pretty
one
cool.
that you really. This build is just wants to be on the move.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And that
I like it,
encourages
man. New Sork unique.
All right, so let's talk about the Druid next. So this one, Druid.
Yeah, dude, Ravy's buffs, boys. Again.
Werewolf updates. You know, Season of the Werewolf. I absolutely love werewolf builds, and I think they've been, you know, maybe a little bit behind the rest of builds over the course of Diablo's history. And so this season, a lot of our updates are really focused on building, making that build come up to par.
Yeah,
I'll check for
pure
chat.
werewolf.
I really want them to have chat so I can kind of keep up and see what people
a
are
lot of
saying
times you
about
saw
it.
some like rapid shape-shifting
But
builds, and those
still
are fun.
disabled,
those
man.
are great, but you know, pure werewolf wasn't quite hitting the mark, and so that's what a lot of our focus is.
Well, it's because you need
Take
all
a
the
look
bonuses
at
from
some
the
of these
Druid, though.
updates.
That's
So
the
we've
reason
got
why.
updates to
Oh, we got
you know,
Shred.
the main
Okay.
core skill for these
Shred's
werewolf builds.
third combo attack is
Previously,
larger.
the Raging Shred upgrade was just a combo attack that applied some poisoning damage. So now it's going to still do that and apply a lot more poisoning damage, but it's also going to cause them to take even more poisoning damage for the next 5 seconds. So this is, you know, your kind of finishing move on your combo or your core combo.
So the finisher
but then it
activates a
also
dot,
enhances
and then
all
makes
the
him
other
take more.
poisoning damage that you applied through something like rabies.
But the numbers show it shows 200%, but the number's
All right,
lower.
We've got
I-
updates to Boulder.
I wish they
This
kept
isn't,
that, like,
necessarily with
congruency.
The werewolf theme, but still, Boulder is a skill that we saw a good opportunity to improve on.
Poison Boulder.
We had two upgrades on Boulder in the past, the two choices, and they were both fairly similar. They both dealt with critical strike chance or critical strike damage, and we thought that was an opportunity to rework one of them to give it a different identity. And basically, the identity was Poison Boulder, like just a giant ball of poison.
Yeah.
What does that look like, or what does that do?
Changing the damage type always helps sort of branch out and make it feel really different.
Yeah,
That
yeah, we
156.
really
I wish they showed off, like-
I'm not
like
sure if we
endgame
have
numbers,
a
'cause
video on that, I think we'll just have to.
For me, it's
go
kind of
on that
vague, you know?
PTR.
Yeah, people will
'Cause-
sit on the PTR, but yeah.
Are you going to build a crit with poison? Because poison
Yeah,
is dot.
and so,
But Boulder has a lot of,
we'll
like,
be-
Earth has
be
a
very
lot of
cool.
crit
Definitely
built
check
in.
that one out.
This
It's
one
like
I'm very excited about.
they don't
because
understand
what how
a lot of the Earth stuff is
we
all
see,
based
like,
around
it's
crit.
always just generated
But then why would you
spirit
give it
now.
poison? Like,
Yeah.
Puzzle
it was
piece does
always,
not connect,
just
you know?
generating some spirit, but you still do that. But now it gives you even more increased damage until you shapeshift out of werewolf form. So going back to what Colin mentioned about really focusing in on pure werewolf, that was an area that we felt, hey, we want to really reward you for staying in the werewolf form and really committing to that identity. And just making sure that felt like an appropriate payoff, and this is one of the areas that we're doing.
Anti-Venom is nerfed. Yeah, they nerfed that one fast, boys. Nothing I can do about it. All right.
About one of the
Blurred Beast is back?
Updated legendaries. So the aspect of the Blurred Beast. So this previously was a legendary that
Oh,
just
lands
caused
4
your shred to do
times?
some bonus
Ooh.
damage to poison enemies. It was fine.
This one,
but it wasn't
hopefully this
too
will be like the
enticing.
build,
But
man.
now with the
Season of the
new
Druid.
update here, you
That actually looks fun.
still do more damage just all the time. And depending on how far you're traveling for Shred, you're going to do some bonus hits. And it looks so cool. Your werewolf is dashing across the screen and then just doing this like multi-hit kind of attack. And so if you're
Multi-strike.
really close, you're just going to get maybe one additional strike. But if you're at this further distance, as you see in this clip, you're going to get the full.
I
four
like
hits.
this. This
It's
is
really
cool, man.
about Positional gameplay a bit more than it was in the past, and you get very heavily rewarded for it when you do kind of execute that properly.
That's awesome.
And it's gonna be really great for like movement, just moving around
Absolutely.
across the map, which I know movement is always a big thing that players really, really want.
Mm-hmm.
People have always been asking for, so it'll be cool to see people kind of like just bouncing around as a druid with the aspect of the Blurred Beast. So very cool.
Yeah.
It's always great when we can inject like changing how you play also, right? Because you can imagine like launching into a group of enemies, then picking out specific targets that you really want to launch to, and that's how you optimize that build combat-wise.
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite ones in this patch, actually. Big fan of a lot of these Druid updates. Aspect of Wolf's Rain. So this is a combo kind of legendary, combining the powers of Hurricane and your Wolf companions. So when you cast Hurricane, all of your wolves actually spawn a little mini hurricane.
Does that work with
on their
overpower though?
And
that's the
these will
question.
do bonus damage for each of your active wolves. So it really encourages.
So
these
Hurricane Wolf?
companion-based builds
I like
that
this.
Already have this wolf pack of 5 wolves following them around.
'Cause with-
now your hurricane affects all of them, and they get
With Hurricane, you're actually in
for
bear
however you got.
form
So
right
you really
now.
wanna be
That's the
stacking
best
up as many
build.
wolves as you can. They all get hurricanes, and you just get to shred through the whole screen with that.
That's super cool.
All right, moving on to Rogue. So this is one that Shadow Clone has been probably the Rogue skill that I would say it maybe wasn't quite hitting the mark compared to most other
Ooh,
skills.
Shadow Clone's gained the summoning
And
skill
that was
tag.
for a variety of reasons, and not to get
All of the
technical
damage
here
added from the player?
details, but for a lot of the
Oh,
effects
they can
that
trigger
you're-
all lucky hit.
that you have with
Holy,
your
the
legendaries,
poison.
your passives, and those kind of things.
Oh.
Historically, Shadow Clone behaved inconsistently with those.
No, it was
wouldn't
bad.
necessarily pick up all of the bonuses. It wouldn't trigger.
It
all
doesn't
of the
get any
effects.
of the
And the end
aspects
result was
either.
basically, that your Shadow Clone
Was garbage,
dealt
yeah.
a whole lot less damage than you did. You thought, hey, I'm hitting for millions, and my Shadow Clone's hitting for like thousands, right?
Yeah.
And so we really looked at that comprehensively and thought, okay, we need to kind of rethink how Shadow Clone works across the board to really bring it.
Why are
up
they
to
showing
par
Wind
to
Striker aspect?
Make it.
They're
behave
deleting
the
it or
way you
something? Like,
expect, and then also extend that to a lot of the other summons in the game. The summons like your Necromancer skeletons, your Druid companions, and so on. So we did basically a rework of that entire system. And the long and short of it is that they should just work a whole lot better going forward.
if they get
in this
all of the
season,
damage, it's
where
actually
they're
going to be broken.
to
I guarantee you
trigger
this is
all
the
of your
best
lucky
build
hit
in the
effects.
entire game
They're
for
going
Rogue.
to interact with all of your damage modifiers and multipliers that they previously were inconsistently working with. So just one example here, a very simple example.
'Cause it's
We've got
literally
Wind
double your
Striker's
damage.
aspect. This is a very simple legendary that just says, hey, when you critically strike, gain some movement speed. Now, in the past, that was only when your player character.
But if they can
critically
activate
struck
all lucky
with
hit,
one of
dude,
your
and
skills.
Dariel's plus
And it
that?
would not happen whenever one of
Barrage?
your companions or
With
your
all
Shadow
the-
Clone critically
Dude,
strikes.
I think
But
they're gonna
now
change
all
this,
of
dude.
that
I'm gonna
won't
be
work.
real.
So your companions or your summons or your Shadow Clone critically strikes, and you have Wind Strikers.
Almost
now
guarantee
your
there's going to be
character
some
gets that
crazy
bonus.
build and or bug with
Yeah,
this. But it's
I
going to
really
be
can't,
fun. Holy.
overstate this, like how many new interactions and synergies this unlocks with not just Shadow Clone, but all of the summons in general across the game.
Dude, that's very
But
exciting.
with
Okay,
Shadow Clone in
what do we got?
particular, we've
Assassin
got
Stride?
a new unique item, and this one is Assassin's Stride. And the effect here works with mobility skills and your shadow imbuement. Once again, kind of playing up that combo aspect. So all of your mobility skills are going to always be shadow imbued with some bonus potency. So they're going to do some more damage. And
Maybe you could do
whenever you damage an elite or boss,
Shadow
with
Step
a
build would be
mobility
cool,
skill,
man.
There's a chance to trigger an instant free shadow imbuement explosion. So those of you who like playing Shadow Step builds, one of my favorite ones with Rogue, just like Adam had said before about jumping around the screen with werewolves, you can do that with Shadow Step now too. And you're just going to be getting a lot of those resets and kills much quicker as you leap out of the shadows, trigger a shadow imbuement explosion, and then move on to the next pack of enemies. Really cool, unique for that kind of build.
Hopefully that'll be actually good enough for like just spamming
Additionally,
it.
Caltrops, maybe the skill
Oh,
was
I've wanted this for
kind of
so long.
clunky on control-wise to use.
Thank God.
Seriously.
If you've ever tried to use Caltrops, it can be a struggle sometimes where your character would leap backwards and you wouldn't go in the right direction, wouldn't hit the enemies. We've updated the animation here to just basically be very similar to the smoke grenade skill, where you just pick a point on the screen, your character throws it, and it just goes where you point it.
That's
am
a win,
the
man.
King of like caltropping one minion out of like 100, and then also falling, like jumping back into like a giant mob and going like, well, I didn't calculate that correctly.
Yeah.
So that update, we were talking about this beforehand, like before we even went live, and I was like, thank effing God. I was like, oh my God, please. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Caltrop should be so much more usable now, and we think that this is a really good change going forward.
Yeah.
All right, on to the Necromancer.
Okay,
So
Necromancer changes.
We've
Let's
done
see it,
some
man.
improved itemization and updates to the overpower synergies, specifically the Rathma's Vigor key passive. So previously, it would just give you some an overpower once every 12 seconds, and or when you overhealed for some bonus life, and now we're just tacking on a big chunk of overpower damage to it.
What?
We
Just
definitely
like,
felt
here's
the
120 X
base,
damage, man.
overpower
Holy.
builds were just not quite hitting that mark. And, just...
Dude, we in
upping
Diablo
the
3
power
now,
into these
man, at
core
this
builds,
point.
through
Dude,
Rathma's Vigor key
that's such a
passive, we think this can be
big,
very
like,
helpful
number.
to make these builds
We just
really
think
shine.
that Dude, 120x. That's like 3 or 4 aspects, man.
Got,
that is massive.
One
All right,
of
let's
the
see the new
uniques.
uniques.
Similar to what we did with the
What's called
Sorcerer, where we had kind
casinos?
of these paired uniques.
Ultimate
We're going to
damage?
have 2 uniques in the same slot for Necromancer as well. This time in the pants slot, and they're both going to be working with Blood Wave. So this one, Kasemi's Legacy, will cause, instead of shooting 1 Blood Wave out forward, you're going to get 2 that kind of converge on you. And this
Like a reverse Moses, splitting the wave.
Positioning requirements, and really the use case, because it's pulling towards you instead of pushing away.
I think it would have been cool if it shot out and it was called like
Being a
Moses,
skill,
this
it's
blood
more
wave.
about the damage and pulling them together, and then when they hit,
But it's
they
still
do a big
cool,
chunk of
man.
damage as well. So definitely turns Blood Wave into a much more damage-focused skill, and a little bit less on the CC or the knockback crowd control.
Okay, so you get 300 ultimate damage. But
Absolutely.
let's see if people are going to be able to spam it. Kind of
for that
curious,
damage.
genuinely, if you could just spam this ability, you know?
Now, the alternative is
Oh.
Indria's Memory.
What's this do?
Where it still shoots the Blood Wave forward, and then at the end of its path, it will trap the targets in a bone prison. So this is a unique that is very much about combining blood and bone. So a little bit less of the pure blood and much more about combining the two.
Wait,
Now,
this is actually pretty
additionally,
busted
you
that it
see
actually
we're using some
costs
bone
10%
spears
life?
here, or should I say blood spears, because that is what they now become.
I wonder if you can
Blood
run out,
spears, and,
like if it will stop working if you
instead
don't have
of costing a
HP.
bunch of essence, they're going to cost, or sorry, they drain maximum life, still cost essence there, but they drain maximum life to cast additionally from a nearby corpse to fire an extra bone spear / blood spear. So there's a lot going on with this one, but I think it really comes together to be a very strong build when you're using the Bone Spear and the Blood Wave, and then casting Bone Spear reduces Blood Wave's cooldown. That's the inherent affix on these legs. Really makes a really cool build.
So you basically
that,
get another
I think
bone spear if
synergizes
it
very nicely.
pops the enemy too. That's really cool. I like that. Seems like that could be
And so
fun
onto the
too.
Spiritborn. So we
Oh,
kind of,
what's going on?
warned at the start, Spiritborn we recognize has been one or multiple steps above most
They
of the classes,
look at the chance for
and
core
very
skills. They reduced that by
Well, play Spiritborn,
0.1%.
I would
Why?
say that, but
Why did they
we
reduce
do
it?
recognize, for the long term.
That doesn't-
the game
look,
is
do you guys see
we
this
have
difference?
A bit better
Why?
clarity across the board. So
Okay.
you don't feel like you're doing it wrong.
Those
if you're
numbers
not
are
playing the
weird.
Spiritborn.
All right. Anyways,
And we have like a lot of the classes outside of the Spiritborn are actually in a really good spot. They're
Yeah.
pushing pit tier 100 plus, which is great. And again, we're
So
not looking
they're
to
nerfing
really
it
buff
by-
every
was it divided by
class up
6?
to clearing pit
So it's
150,
divided by
so
6
regular
on the
pit that bonus
damage
race where we just have
right
to
there.
continuously sort of ask you, the player, to
but that you
shoot through,
you still get the
20
basic
different
skill, right?
bonuses
I
because we're just armed
didn't get to
versus
read
the class so
everything,
much.
but
Yeah,
if it still
we
counts as
do
basic
think
skills,
that
I think
kind
that's
of
cool.
our
Genuinely.
target there is closer to where the other 5 classes are, and Spiritborn was just too
Way
high
outside
up.
of that, yeah.
And it's rather than try to power creep the whole game, we'd like to make sure we make some small improvements everywhere else to the underperforming builds and those ones that don't have enough love, and then get Spiritborn back down to a more healthy spot. And so with that in mind, one of the biggest offenders, or biggest power points, rather.
Oh, we're getting Razor
on-
Wing
on
buffs
the Spiritborn
again.
was the Rod of
That's
Kapalecki
cool.
here. This one
Confirmed
is
right there.
one that,
So, let's
converts
see.
your core skills into basic skills. And
Yeah, I like that. It's still good.
It used to do reduced damage based on vigor cost.
Oh, it doesn't
and,
lose the-
admittedly,
wait.
The calculations there were kind of complex, and so we've simplified it down a little bit.
Well, it doesn't really matter. You would
where
never get the reduction in
they
damage
will
anyways.
just gain the bonus critical strike damage.
It's
It
still
will be
divided by 6.
substantially less. Previously, it was 1 to 3%. Now it'll be down to 0.1 to 0.5 per point of vigor
Yeah,
there.
it's-
We think this will bring it to a much healthier spot, but still kind of.
Nah, you
retain
could probably
the
still
core
one-shot
fantasy
Duriel.
and the
Let's-
core
we'll see,
build
man.
Implications of this item. It just won't
It's
be
still probably one of the
pushing
best
quite
items in the
same,
game, honestly.
Trillions of
It's
damage
free
that we were
resource.
seeing before.
Converting
We also
skills
think
is
some of
pretty
the
big
issues
too.
called out here at the above, like viscous shield and things like that, scaling in unintended ways that were just way outside of our expectations.
Yeah, definitely some unintended kind of bugged interactions that were maybe double dipping or scaling too high. We've taken a pass to make those more in line with our expectations.
The question is, can you still run Banished Lords with it? Like, does that combo still
Alright,
work? We'll have to wait and see, man.
Additionally, we've got new aspects. Of course,
Razor Wing hitting enemy
new,
increases your
class
eagle
in
skill
Diablo 4,
damage.
You're going to be getting new content every season. So we've got new legendary aspect here, the aspect of Endless Talons that causes you a Razor Wings to increase all of your eagle skill damage. And Razor
And you can
Wing
remember, you
critical
can convert your
strikes
other
will,
skills to eagle
grant you
skills.
more
So
stacks. So you can really stack that up. You know, it stacks up to 50%. That's a whole lot. So you really want to be spamming out these Razor Wings and getting those crits to stack this up.
I mean, the skill, by the way,
as fast as
still
possible.
genuinely isn't very
and this
good. I'm
goes
gonna
back
keep it
to,
real
like,
though.
just the
And you need
prior slide where we
insane
talked about
cooldown
how
reduction.
Razor
So
Wings
I don't
and
see
some
Razor
people
Wings
are getting
with
super
just that
love
alone
in
being
this
good.
specific season,
It's-
which were more so underutilized in
Quill Volley's still on
season
top,
6,
man.
So,
Yeah,
we'll
Elixir
see
doesn't
how
work,
plays, but
Pinguini. It got
we'll
nerfed,
see,
sadly.
these new legendary aspects, of course.
I don't think they're buffing it in
and
Season
how
7.
they
This is all
actually
Season
work
7
with
stuff,
some
by
of
the way.
changes that we're doing for those builds.
So is that it for the class changes? Oh no, we got some new changes.
We've
Okay.
got some updates to some of the underused uniques as well. Ring of Writhing Moon.
Pestilent
here.
Swarm?
This one would trigger Pestilent Swarm every 10 seconds. We felt like that was a little too long given the pace of combat. In our
It's weird
game,
because like it's poison, but then it gives you
especially
crit.
compared
It's
to
like
some of the
again,
other
it's the
options
puzzle
at
pieces
the
do not
unique
connect
slot,
in the
ring
identity,
slot.
right?
So we've reduced that down to every 4 seconds. You'll spawn a Pestilent Swarm, and the vigor generated goes up from 1 up to 3. So a lot more.
That chance to make enemies vulnerable is actually pretty sexy. You basically could get like 100%.
compared to your other choices.
So that ring alone with just that stat is actually maybe something that some people will consider.
So let's talk a little bit about
We'll see,
some
though.
of the broader updates that
Ooh,
affect
gameplay.
all classes. So the
Okay,
the one I'm
ultimate
excited about here
updates.
is the ultimate updates. So
All right, let's check this out.
In the previous season, we introduced skill ranks on ultimates.
Oh, yeah,
So
you
can
get-
now rank up
now
to
at
ultimate
rank
up to
5, it
rank
does something
5, and
bonus?
that was good. Gave you some cooldown reduction, some damage. But now, when you actually fully invest in it up to that rank 5.
Okay,
Every
that's cool.
ultimate in the game is going to get a new rank 5 bonus. So for example here on Lacerate, we've got at rank 5, Lacerate's damage is going to be increased by 40% of your critical strike damage bonus. It gives it this scaling factor. So you can see on the left, Lacerate at rank 1 is doing about 38,000 damage, but you rank it up to 5, and it goes crazy high up to 119,000 damage because it's now getting that critical strike damage scalar. And so if you really want to build a dedicated Lacerate build, as kind of
Lacerate's
your-
animation is
your
pretty
core
bad. I'm gonna be
damage
honest,
effect,
unless they change
this
that,
is going to be a great way to build around it.
I really
and a
don't
good
think people are
reward
gonna
for
wanna use
investing
it.
all those extra skill
I'd rather
points.
just play Shred, but
I'd
we'll
like to
see.
see us add more things that incentivize you to actually
Mm-hmm.
put some points into skill.
Yeah, no, especially with the
Yeah,
new Shadow Clone too.
so
Oh, I'm
you-
excited about that.
Sometimes you'd see.
I'm gonna make a Shadow Clone Jitsu build.
The utility of the ultimate. Hey, it's fine to put in 1 point, right? You get 1 point, you get the utility, maybe you get some buff from it. But if you really want to invest in it, we want to make sure that investment
ultimate
in skill
skills,
ranks feels meaningful.
with the exception of, like,
And we think
Necros,
these rank 5
weren't
bonuses
really
on ultimates in particular
crazy
is gonna be
stuff.
a really good way to pay off those ultimate builds.
Okay, cool. And then I want to see. Is this it? It's gonna wrap it up.
All
Oh
right,
no, more
we've also
gameplay.
got some new generic legendary aspects.
I
to
like
the
generic.
style.
That's good.
That talk directly to ultimate skills.
Casting ultimate.
So we've got the
increases your
Vehement
damage.
Brawlers aspect that causes
Gain
casting an
4
ultimate
additional
skill
ultimate
increases all your
skills.
damage output
Ooh.
by 10 to 30% for 8 seconds.
That's
And you
like a
also
good
gain
generic, too.
additional skill ranks in your ultimate.
Additional skill ranks
hey,
equals
we just
extra
talked about
cooldown
skill
reduction,
rank
too.
Bonuses.
That's
Now
awesome.
We've got a legendary that will give you some bonus skill ranks.
Nice.
We've also got the Ring of Apogeic Fervor, which says casting your ultimate skill will increase your damage by 8 to 18%, so a little bit less than the Vehement Brawlers, but it stacks up to 10 times, so you can get way more if you can cast your ultimate fast enough and kind of chain it together. So this will be really good for like rogues that use preparation to really get that ultimate cooldown reduction, or any build that really wants to focus around casting your ult many times in a row. This one is going to be a great legendary for that.
You have to cast it 10 times just to get the cooldowns to be reset. That doesn't really make sense to me, but
All right, we've
it's
also
fine. You
done
can
some
stack
updates
it.
to the Runewords.
Ooh, nice.
So Runewords, Vessel of Hatred feature, has been really well received. We think that they've really, spiced up some build variety, and we're going to add some new runes here and update some of the old ones. So all of the invocation runes have overflow. So the cost of many of them have also been adjusted to allow you to proc this overflow effect when you generate more offering than needed, much more often.
That's good.
And then also the ritual runes, the ones that generate the offering, some of them have been redesigned to have some larger potential moments of this overflow. So an example here on the Seer rune, this generates a ton of offering, 300 offering at once. And you get that by casting 5 skills. But then
You become
instead of just
exhausted?
casting 5 skills and then generate all of it and then casting 5 again instantly, we've added in this exhausted period for 3 seconds. So you can get that 300 offering at once, but then you got to wait 3 seconds before you start building up those stacks again.
Oh, so it's like
getting like large buckets.
it's like a cooldown. Okay.
Instead of offering with these.
I don't know if I like that. I just want the
Clean
skill
enough to
straight up.
Kind of make sure that, hey, we can give you the strong moment of power, but then it is followed by a little bit of a weaker moment where you can't generate that, rather than every.
I'll be honest, this is the first thing, and so far, I don't really like it.
Have those peaks and valleys. I really think that leads to
Razor Wing's not very good, Grizzly. Yeah, it's like open world content only. Like no pit pushing, man.
Right, and that'll play right into the updates with a lot of the overflow to make sure that when you do overflow, it feels really good and feels really rewarding to get that. So let's talk about some of the other runes we've got.
Some new runes to show off.
Oh, new runes,
Yeah,
new
so we've
runes.
got,
Yes,
new
yes.
here.
Okay.
The Nagu rune, a legendary rune that will
Maintain
gain 100
one
offering,
summon?
as long as you're maintaining a summon. And so, as
Wait,
I
that's like
kind of
so
alluded to
free?
earlier with
That's
the
cool.
Shadow
I like
section,
that.
Summon is our new catch-all term for anything that you summon. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory, but that includes things like Necromancer minions, Druid companions, Sorcerer conjurations.
If you could make a summon rogue, that's what we're gonna try, man.
Ancients from some of your effects, Call of the Ancients, and some of the legendaries that summon those are all summons. Igni rune will generate 25 offering, but it stores up offering every 0.3 seconds. So you're actually doing about 75 offering per second, roughly. And you actually cash it in by casting a non-basic skill to get that offering. So as long as you're out there kind of spamming your basic skill, you're going to be kind of banking up this offering. And then when you cast the non-basic, you cash all in. You probably trigger the rune it's connected to. You get a big.
So you can use it with like combo points on rogue. It'd be cool ideas.
And finally, we've got the Chak rune that generates or requires 20 offering rather, and this will invoke Druid's lightning bolt. That's one of those.
There is like a bonus multiplier on it, but I don't know if people would use it.
Is kind of that other power in the Druid's kit, similar to like Earthquake or.
I'm gonna be honest, I might. That's gonna be skipped.
So, enable those.
The Barbarian Earthquake one is good though, because it's like big AoE. All right, is this it? Is this gonna wrap it up for the class? Because I'm gonna try to cut these up.
Changes coming to classes. You know, there's more changes in the notes that we'll have.
Okay, cool.
That will be hitting next week.
Oh, okay,
so
next
we
week.
can look into those. These are just a few examples that we have for PTR. And of course, really need feedback on a lot of these changes. I know there's some people going in chat going like, hey, noticing like, you know, maybe your
chat is disabled.
And then there's a little bit of a cooldown period or something like that. Let us know. Like, we want people to try those out, like test it out. So
I don't know why they don't have chat though. It's got to be an accident, right?
2-1, we can end up
okay, so
making any feedback changes based off of community feedback.
Okay, so they're probably gonna get into the next one, but that's what I'm gonna do for this is part 1 because there's gonna be a separate section. Season 7 gameplay, please. Anyways, this is gonna wrap it up for part 1 because there's gonna be more. But that's that. Okay, that's gonna be the class balance. Let me know, guys, what you think about it. I think there are a lot of cool changes. There's a lot of unique changes, but if there is more, I will cover it in the next part 2 of the brand new Campfire chat and class balance updates, whatever we're gonna call it. I want to see what season 7 has to offer. But yeah, what do you guys think of it?